All right. These are word problems involving proportions. So what they're going to be giving you is some kind of a ratio. And what you're going to have to do is modify that ratio using one of the methods that we learned earlier to create an equivalent ratio. All right, so let's look at this one. My shadow is 4 feet long and I'm 6 feet tall. How tall is a tree with a shadow of 8 feet? So think about it this way. You go outside and you want to see, wow, that's a really tall tree. How tall is it? Well, you don't have a tape measure, and let's just say it's 100 feet tall. You're not going to be able to measure 100 feet off of a basic tape measure. So how can you measure it? Well, shadows are proportional. Taller an object, longer the shadow. Shorter an object, shorter the shadow. So you could measure shadows. Well, you can tell yourself, like myself, I am 6 feet tall. And when I measured my shadow at a certain time, it said 4 feet. And then I went over and I measured the tree. Well, the tree is an 8-foot shadow. And now we can compare them. So we know that my ratio is 6 to 4, or 4 to 6, my shadow to my height. So that means that that tree has to have that same exact ratio of 8 to something. And then now you can solve it to find your answer. So we're going to do the cross multiply method, which is 4 times x equals 8 times 6, because I guarantee that's your favorite, which is 48, and then divide by 4. So x is equal to 12 feet. So that means the tree is approximately 12 feet tall. That's it. That's all you have to do. You could have also done the multiplication method, the equivalent ratio, so times 2 times 2. So that's 8 and 12. Or you could have done the unit, whichever one you wanted. But this is all you're doing. You're taking one ratio that you know to create an equivalent ratio and then find the missing value. So here are 3, 4, 5 problems that we get to try. Number 1, as part of a spring clearance, a men's store put dress shirts on sale, 2 for $25.98. That is our ratio right there. So if we bring that down, we get 2 shirts for $25.98. And the reason I'm putting units on there is because we want to make sure that we keep the same ratio. Remember, these have to be equal, so we put the units just so we know they match. Alright, so on this one, that means we're going to get shirts over here and money on the bottom. So let's look at the rest. How much will a businessman pay if he buys 5 shirts? So does that go on top or bottom? On top. And that means we're looking for the price. That's what it said, how much. So now we can take our ratio that we know is correct, cross multiply. So 5 times 25.98. $129.90. Divide by 2. 64.95. And that's it. So for 5 shirts, he will pay $64.95. So anytime you're given a ratio, you can create a proportion to find the missing value. So try numbers 2 and 3, and then we'll go over them together. So hit pause and give them a shot. Okay, so our first ratio, it says that to make a recipe, it's 4 bottles to make 2 gallons. That's our ratio. 4 bottles, 2 gallons. So that means on top is bottles, bottom is gallons. So it says how many bottles, that's our x, are needed to make 10 gallons. And then we cross multiply and solve and gives us 20 bottles. Same thing here. It's 4 miles for 1.5 hours. So over here it has to be miles to hours as well. We're given 4 hours. So if we cross multiply, it'll tell us how many miles. Alright, there's 2 more for you to try. Hit pause, give them a shot. Alright, so you should have gotten 75 cents for the Apple one. And remember, there's different methods of doing this. So if you're doing it a different way and getting the correct answers, that's fine. And that's why number 5 is here, because this one is special. If 60 is divided between Brian and Kate in a 2 to 3 ratio, we're not given any of the other pieces. We're asked to find how much does Kate get. So it's a 2 to 3 ratio of B over K. So we know whatever we get here is Kate's portion. But it has to have a 2 to 3 ratio, and this 2 to 3 has to add up to 60. So that means you can put any number you want here as long as they add up to 60 and they have a 2 to 3 ratio. So here's how you do it. 2 and 3, that's a total of, remember all those ratio ones we did before. This is another use of it. We have Kate, 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 Brian, Brian. This is our ratio of 2 to 3. Now we have to make it into 60. So how many pieces are there total? There's 5 total. 5 pieces. 5 portions that each are going to get. So if you were to take 60, divide it by 5, we would get 12. This tells us that each person is going to get 12 portions of this little ratio here. So 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 12 is 36. And that is a 2 to 3 ratio. If you don't believe me, check it. So what is 2 divided by 3? 0.6. What is 24 divided by 36? 0.6. 66.7. And there it is. So that means Kate would get $36. And that's how you would do it. You could also just sit here and keep plugging in numbers until you get a total of 60. It's going to maintain a 2 to 3 ratio. So if you did 2 to 3 times 10, this is called the Price is Right method. You just go high and low. That's 50. So let's go higher. We'll do 15. And that's 30 over 45. That's too much. 2 times 13. 3 times 13. It's 26 over 39. Still too much. And then eventually you're going to hit it. 2 times 12, 3 times 12, which gives us 24 over 36, and there's our 60. So you don't have to know exactly what it is. It is quicker to know where there's 5 parts, so if you divide that 60 by 5, it tells you how many times. What you're basically doing is taking this and multiplying it by 12 of them. So that means she would have 2 times 12, or he would have 2 times 12, she would have 3 times 12. Alright, thank you.